Hi guys, this is Mark from Trading on the Edges, and today we look into Microvision, Occugene and Vaxart, stocks which are really driven by trading chat rooms. So I take a look into these rooms as well, and at the end I pass you some advices. So just stand by. So the first company we're looking into is Microvision. And as I noted here, it's a kind of short squeeze candidate. What means that short squeeze? You're going to have buyers and sellers of the stock, and actually in America you're going to have the possibility, or let's say hedge funds are mostly selling stocks, so they expect that the price will go down. So if there's a big selling exposure, you have now some small investors, mostly out of these chat rooms, trying to push the value of the stock up, that these hedge funds are obliged to buy back the stock which they have sold before. So this is actually what happened with Microvision, because actually what business they are in, it's okay. I mean, they are certainly in a niche market, which is good, but their earnings are not really wow. In other words, they are still losing money, so it's a kind of startup company. So what happened here is actually that the people begin to buy based on the rumors in the chat, and you can see how the volume has increased. So the stock shoot up just up to 25 within 1 or 2 days. It's like double the price before it came down, and I think here were the earnings, which were not really good, so the stock is now back to 15. So this is one example. Let's take the next stock, Occugene. This is another stock which in my case is based on kind of chat messages. Actually, this is a funny story, because my daughter, who actually studies in London, just called me one day and told me, hey, you need to buy Occugene. And I had no clue what kind of company is that. And actually, she's in London studying, probably with some Indian students. So they came up with the idea, because actually Occugene is now really in this COVID-19 vaccine development. Actually, what's very funny is basically they are in the therapies to cure blindness and eye diseases, but they have acquired another company who actually developing the vaccine. So here you can see too, in a frame of 10 days, it just shoot up again from, let's say it was $5 or $6, went up to 11, and now obvious that they are waiting the results. So we are now at currently $12, which is incredible how fast this stock went up. Next one is Vaxart or Voxart. I don't know how to call it, but anyway, this is another COVID-19 stock, which is even more interesting, because what they are trying to do is nothing else that instead of doing an injection of COVID-19, well, in the future, you're going to have a tablet. I mean, this is incredible, that in other words, you will not have to queue up for an injection. You just take 1 or 2 pills. I don't know how it will work, but anyway, this is the idea of Vaxart. And actually here again, it was $5, nothing happened. And then I just took a little bit in this kind of ranking of stocks. And actually I bought the stock about 8 here, you see, because the volume came up. And I sold already at 9, because 10% is fine. I have no idea where this stock will go. Now we are about 10.78, and you see the volume is big. So this is another stock which really drives by this kind of sentiment. Well, then we are taking a look in these trading chat rooms. I mean, I just have chosen one trading chat. There are many about it, but it's just more or less they have the same structure that you can watch it, these stocks, which is again Microvision, Occugene, and Vaxart. So the investors are looking at the stock. This is a very important number here, and here. So there are currently actually 125,000 people watching this stock, like this Occugene. I mean, this is a huge amount of people who actually just follow all the messages from the people writing, or if they are bullish or they are bearish. And this is very important that actually you keep a kind of big audience, because if the stock will move up, it's obvious that they will move and they will maybe buy. Let's say here you see there's an up of 5% at that moment, which you can see here is on the 30th of April. And the sentiment is maybe the other thing. The sentiment is more or less now what's in the market now, how the market feels in this sentiment, and it's obviously there's a positive sentiment at the moment on OQGene, so this is another indication that actually the price goes up. The volume, actually message volume, okay, this is indicates that there's now so many people now in, it comes a little bit down. Okay, never mind about that, but it shows you a little bit how many people are following the stock and what's going on in this stock. Now we take a next step. Here we see now a glimpse of the trading chat rooms, like everybody has to say something. So this is one here of Microvision, that one is Vaxor, and this one is OQGene. So coming to Microvision, as we said, we are now currently about $15. Well, you have now some bullish and some bearish, so it's more about the balance of both, because now we are more or less in the middle between, let's say, this $10 or $8 and this $25. So at the moment we are just kind of 15, and I guess now the volume will drop more because now I think the stock will probably stabilize around this $15 or $12 whatsoever. Interesting are always these animation pictures. You have a lot. I mean, these guys are just writing something and then right away add a picture. This is maybe people like it, I don't know. As I said, it doesn't give you any information about the stock. It's just a kind of picture. Wow, and that's all. More interesting is, for instance, now this chart is a candle and stick chart, the technical chart for Vaxart. This is probably more important that they can see now he's bullish because of this chart. Well, I think this is okay. This helps me that I can see, okay, from a technical side, it's a bullish signal. Coming to OQGene, here it was just now the issue of a study, which actually they said that the virus, I mean the vaccine of OQGene is great against all 4 different mutation of the virus. So this is certainly a very interesting information. I think this is the reason why the stock just went up lately. But you can see here again they add whatever fire rocket and all these signals, so they will say, yeah, we are bullish and now go on. And I think this is a continuation of all these chat rooms that you get so many information that is sometimes really difficult to filter them and say, okay, what is good and what is not so good. But as I said, this is now the new trend. So they are all in this kind of chat and they are posting so many information. So what conclusion I can tell you about these 3 trading stocks? As I said, mostly are driven by these trading chat rooms, where the momentum, and this is very important, the momentum plays an important role. I mean, when you see the stock going up, 5%, and you get all these chats saying, hey, buy, whatever, it's always, it influences your trading decision as well. So you're gonna buy too. So the fundamental issue seems to be less important. I mean, all those stocks, they didn't get any profit so far. They are still in loss, so they just anticipate that the stock will go up because in the future they will earn some money. Then the comments, as I said, are quite superficial. That you means they just tell you a little bit this and that. It's not really that you get kind of a value out of it, and actually it's mostly misleading. It happens sometimes, this is interesting. There's maybe a guy bullish and another one is bearish, and then actually they try to fight to each other and not really having a good argument, just saying, hey, this is wrong, or this is not correct. And then actually what I want to say is it doesn't help anything. It's just because they are in their kind of direction and they don't want that somebody would oppose to it. And as I said, these kind of animation pictures which we saw before, well, they're looking nice, but you know, it doesn't indicate you anything if the stock is now really working or moving. It's just a kind of moment of situation, and then actually they are happy because the stock went up, or actually they show maybe a sad face because they lost whatsoever. Now, from my side, what advice I can pass you when trading these stocks? What I did is actually I follow first a bit this stock. Like you see before, I saw this chart of 10 days. I follow a little bit going up and down. Obvious that maybe I will not get the best price, but I prefer just a little bit seeing now if something just rocket to see a little bit what are the next days. So this is maybe what I would recommend you, just follow a little bit for a couple of days. Then actually you have the possibility to buy right away or actually buy in steps in small quantities. Let's say the stocks were between $15 or they were $9 or $11. So you can buy 100 shares or 200 shares, the equal of $1,000 or $2,000. I would just begin like that. And what I do all the time is actually these shares actually have the possibility to deal in options, and actually I sell a put option, which I will show you after that, just in an example that I actually are obliged to buy the share but in at a lower level. And the same thing is if you would get the stock, you could sell some call options, which I show you right away. And really, if it's really speculative, and I see that many people do it, they buy a call. But you know, the call probably is very expensive in a way that you buy a premium, you pay a premium, and the stock needs to move at least another 5 or 7% that you get this kind of break even. So I think it's always that you need to be convinced about this share, that the share really goes up, that you would buy a call. I see that sometimes in the chat that the people actually, the investors, they show you that they bought the call or they bought the put or whatever, but most of them is not that they show you the whole position. They would say, okay, I bought this and this, again, in the sense that they would appreciate actually if you buy too, or in other words, that it grows, that everybody would buy and the stock would go up. So this would be, let's say, an idea of Microvision. I just took this one. Microvision was around $15 trading. So what you can see here is incredible, that you could sell a put with a strike 15 and you would receive a premium of $2.27. So let's say $227, because it's always times 100. One put is equal 100 shares. So you are obliged to buy the share at 1,500, or so $15 means $1,500 investment. But actually you get a premium of $2.27. So we calculate the break even that the stock actually can fall up to or down to 12.72, that actually you still would earn if the stock would recover and going up, because I just take this amount away from $15, so you get a kind of break even. As for kind of Greek freaks, let's say the volatility was here 67% and the delta is 0.4. I mean, this is just an indication for the market maker, that you have a little bit an idea what is called in the money, at the money, and the volatility. Obvious is a very high volatility. The higher the volatility, the higher the option price. So actually I sell volatility, I sell the option because I profit from this really high return. So another thing would be, let's say if you have bought the stock, remember I said you may buy a small quantity of the stock, and then actually once you bought the stock, well, then right away sell a call option or call options against the position. Here I took an example that I sold, let's say $16, so it means I would have to sell at $16, but I get $2 as a premium. So this is again what I receive. So my break even is actually $18 of the stock. So you can imagine we are now currently at 15, and actually I would be ready, let's say, to sell at 16 plus the $2 premium. So I would have a break even of 18. This is incredible. It's very high. So you should really profit of these options. Because with the volatility of 63% again and delta of 52, it's really worth to sell an option, either a call option when you have a position or a put option when you want to get a new position in the Microvision stock. So this is an example of Microvision, but actually Voxord or Ocugen, they have more or less the same premium. All these stocks, I mean, which have such a high fluctuation, they really have high volatility. So I really recommend you to take a look into this kind of option strategies when dealing in these shares. Well, coming back a bit about these shares, I mean, somebody would ask me now, should I buy or should I get into these kind of high speculative shares, these kind of hype shares? And I always, in the beginning, I was quite skeptical too. I mean, I was kind of defensive, fundamental guy, which actually I can show you in my next slide. But I think today we call the glory word diversification. In other words, it's not that you should only stick maybe on fundamentals, defensive stocks. You should maybe diversify your investment with a small quantity of this kind of high speculative stocks. As I show you before, it could be maybe $1,000, $2,000 in these stocks. It's worth to do something like that. This is what I would recommend. I'm Mark from Trading on the Edges with a lot of stock market experience, doing mostly in traded options. As I said here, fundamental shares, well, I have to admit, since the call of my daughter, maybe I just changed a bit my attitude. I think it's not too bad to go into these stocks as well. As I said, with a kind of really low investment, I would almost say 90% fundamental, 10% speculative, something like that, you know. So I'm offering this kind of Zoom coaching online courses, in a way showing you a little bit more ideas, strategy ideas with options, and at the same time I just try a little bit to see what kind of online broker you can use. Certainly interesting points to show it to you. Well, that's all for today. I hope you have enjoyed the small video, and I hope that you can be successful with these stocks. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.